The Not a Dollars are back. Season 3 of No Money Spent for Hockey Ultimate Team is underway. In this episode, we are going to talk about the goals of the series, what I've done so far, recap early access, as well as all the tips I've learned from playing the game so much early on that it is going to help you get the best cards and coins in the fastest way possible. Now, last year was my first year of going completely no money spent. It was my main account. I didn't spend a single dollar on the game, and it was the easiest year of being no money spent that I think we've ever had. I was able to easily get 99s at every position across the board, and for the last few months of the game, I rarely played Hut Champs, and I basically just played a few games of Rivals before finally finishing in Division 1 with a full 99 team, all without spending any money. So once I fired up the game, we created the Not a Dollars and ripped our starter pack, which came with a huge surprise just a few cards in. EA put all of the arenas in the game into Hockey Ultimate Team. So we got the Bronze Outside Arena from EASHL, and that's going to be our home for the first little while. There was also a major change in NHL 25 to lower attributes across the board, so as I was ripping my starter pack players, you can see how low and overall they are. We did get a few more players from our favorite team, which was nice, and on top of getting an X Factor, we also got a power-up icon, which was a nice addition. And with that, the Not a Dollar's first X Factor is the Calgary Flames' Mackenzie Weegar, and our power-up icon was the Winnipeg Jets' Dale Hawerchuk. So the first thing I did is I wanted to test out the new wildcard mode. Now, I had the game a few days before early access, but because this is my only account, I had to create content with the Not a Dollars. So as you can see, the very first wildcard climb path only went up to 800 wildcard points, which was far easier than what it ended up being at 2,000, and I wanted to chase that first X Factor pack. So I drafted my team, and for anyone that has not tested out wildcard yet, the new mode will have you drafting players from a set draft pool, all while having to stay under a set salary cap, whatever it is for that week. Again, this was a pre-early access wildcard build. It ended up being a little bit different when the launch of the game actually happened, but I drafted my team, set it under the salary cap, and then started to play against the CPU to start knocking down that wildcard climb. So pretty early on, I realized that this was no longer NHL 24, and all of the goals that worked in last year's game, they weren't going in at the same clip in NHL 25.
Yo, suck!
On top of that, wildcard on Superstar proved to be a little bit more difficult than I anticipated, especially because the entire game was only one 3-minute period. I found myself on the losing end a couple times before I started to get into a groove. So a couple things I picked up while playing wildcard. Because I didn't have anyone else to play against, it was much more difficult than when I was actually able to play online once the game launched. So what I'd recommend, even if you are in a lower division and you don't like playing online, if you lose, you get 50 wildcard climb points. If you win, you get 100 when you play online. To put that in perspective, on Superstar, with a win against the Superstar AI, you're going to get 60. A loss will get 30. So even if you lose online, you're only getting 10 less than a Superstar win. So then it was time to rip the X Factor choice pack. You will get a 1 of 8 of the base X Factor items. You can really go in any direction here. They're all pretty similar when it comes to their attributes and Superstar abilities in terms of value. If you didn't get Nico Hischier, he would probably be the first one just simply because you can play him at center and he's got a decent face-off rating. But any of the options available to you are going to be somewhat impactful for your lineup currently. I personally went with my favorite player of the pack, and that was the Sharks X Factor Mario Ferraro. So I went ahead and selected him with the Wildcard X Factor choice pack. Now, like I said, once the game actually launched for early access, my build updated, and then the wildcard climb path expanded to 2,000, but I was able to earn the rewards at the end again, including another X Factor player choice pack. Let me know in the comment section down below, because I wrestled with this a little bit. Some people wanted to see me use this card and then use him into a trade-in to help improve the team, but also I kind of don't want to use this card because it's kind of unfair when it comes to no money spent.
Okay, that's cheating.
Let me know in the comment section if you want me to just quick sell it. I'll do whatever you guys say. But I am going to use all of the pre-order packs and content that we received. I wanted to show everyone that pre-ordered the game who I used and why I made my selection. So we'll start first with the Hughes Brothers Cover Athlete Choice Pack. Jack Hughes was an easy choice for me in this pack. Any player that gives you 89 speed, 90 excel at launch with Silver Elite edges is just a massive advantage early on. And this card has not disappointed me in any of the games I've played at the start of this season. Our next pack was the 85 overall cover athlete choice pack. And again, this one was a pretty easy selection for me. Cale Makar with his insane speed up at 92 makes him one of the fastest cards in the game at launch. And when you throw elite edges onto him, all of his cuts remain at top speed. This has been one of the more fun cards to use so far in NHL 25. Next up is the Hockey is Family choice pack. Now, these are all 82 overall, and a lot of the cards were just bigger players that have very low skating, so not a lot of great options in here. I think the clear number one choice was Seth Jones, because while he is big, he had decent skating. And then I went with Brady Tkachuk because he's my second favorite player in the pack. Our last choice pack from the pre-order options was the Hut Wildcard Starter Choice Pack, and this actually came with a lot of great options. In my opinion, there's an argument for any of them, except maybe Dustin Wolf, unless you're a Calgary Flames fan, of course. They're all pretty big, have okay skating with some okay abilities as well, but Caden Gooley is just above and beyond because it's very hard early on to find a good defenseman that's big, has good skating, and a decent ability as well. So I, like many others, went with Caden Gooley here. Go! Gooley sneaks one in. That shouldn't go in. That's a terrible goal. And then lastly, we had the NHL Players Pack, which was 6 random NHL players. This pack ended up being brutal because it included base icons, which is still an issue in the game. In my opinion, it is really impacting the market. But as you can see, I pulled literally all base icons, and none of them are going to make my team, and I can't really use them in sets either. And then lastly, I wanted to use my points this year. In prior No Money Spent series, I didn't. But because of the insane changes to the market and the economy this year, I did want to rip the pre-order packs to see what you could get out of them. In the first one, I decided to go with the Early Access Premium 75 and above pack, and I got quite a few items that you can use in sets, as well as a pretty big pull at the end, netting myself Victor Hedman's 83 overall base item. Now, for the rest of my points, I opened up the Prime pack because I was trying to chase NHLers that I could use for team builders or really any other set, and they were listed at 500 points, which wasn't a lot, kind of seemed like decent value. However, I just didn't get nearly enough stuff that could actually be used towards sets because unfortunately, the power-up icons as well as team builders and the X Factor cards at the current market value are just so insanely high that it really didn't matter what I pulled in these packs. With the pre-order stuff out of the way, it was time to finish the wild card set. This set is able to be completed once you have gotten Sean Dursey as well as Anton Lundell from the wild card climb path. You also needed to pre-order the game to get the 84 wildcard choice pack. Now, once you trade all of these items in, you will receive all of them back, as well as an 84 overall wildcard Wyatt Johnston. However, they will all be BND, which means that they are account bound. This year, EA has added account-bound players. These are going to operate a little bit differently than untradeable cards. Account-bound players you cannot use in sets, meaning that they are just in your collection, but you are able to use them on your team when you're playing any mode. The one benefit of account-bound players is that EA is letting us get some cards back when we go for some of the more expensive trade-ins. For example, the Charged McDavid X Factor card has you trading in all 4 of the X Factor Captain cards. Now, each one of those Captain cards comes in at an 800,000 coin value. In prior years, we would have had to just trade all 4 cards in, lose them all. Now, this year, we get 2 of them back, but they are account-bound, so at least we can still use them in their lineup. It's not perfect, but slightly better than what we've had. Now, we also got the new Daily Hat Trick player items. It was a 1 of 3 choice pack, and these cards will be upgradable throughout the year. They will require you to complete daily objectives to get the Daily Hat Trick collectibles, and once you acquire enough, you can upgrade their tiers throughout the season. Any of the options are fine. I went with Logan Couture because he is the best card currently in my opinion, and obviously a Shark. Now, even though we're not forced to play any mode specifically, early on when you first started your team, you definitely want to take advantage of the Deke objectives for power-up icons as well as X Factors. I have a couple videos showing you how to do it behind the net, but for this one, I literally just toe dragged all the way around the offensive zone, and I was able to complete this in 2 games. So you immediately start your Hut team with 50,000 coins, which is pretty huge. Once I finished that, it was time to finish the Early Access XP path. I completed the entire thing by just playing Rivals, which again is one of the best improvements year over year for Hockey Ultimate Team. I did not have to sit there and grind squad battles or anything else. I just played Rivals as much as I possibly could, and I actually had a pretty good time. So, as you can see, I maxed out the Early Access XP path, including getting the Early Access Icon Player Choice item. Now, these bonus packs were legitimately just base or prime packs from prior years. They were nothing crazy. It does look like EA is drastically improving them when the first full season comes out, as that season is going to be much longer than the very short early access XP path. So let's discuss the goals of the series. Now, I talked a lot last year going into this year. I thought that trying to save up 1 million coins without using the market really would be kind of a fun goal. But then, however, they went and dropped this $3 million charged X Factor Connor McDavid, and because of the insane cost and everything required to make him, at least during early access, the goal of the series is to get this card without spending any money, and I don't care if it takes me 3 months. So if you want to follow this year's no money spent grind, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'll walk you through all of the best tips and tricks to build your team in NHL 25. I'll see you next episode. Huge, let's go, man. Yes, sir. Folks, they're saying it's my year.